So guys, here we are. It's our Monday mobility session coming right up. So, perfect time to do it. Start of the week. It actually sets you up nicely for all your sessions that you do. So, as always, I do have the chat open so you can shoot a message in or a question in. So don't be afraid or don't hesitate with that. And we'll give it another about 20 seconds or so. Let a couple of people wander in. But all you're going to need now today is a bit of floor space, and I'd recommend doing it on a mat because knees on hard floor isn't the best. So get your mat, bit of floor space, and then you're sorted. So you can have a drink of water by your side or a glass of water by your side. As it does get quite sweaty, it's not heart rate won't shoot up, but you'll get a bit of a sweat on. So we're going to get started in about 10-15 seconds here. If I can sort this out. There we go. Yeah, so we're sitting on our bum. We've got 10 seconds. So going into legs 90-90, our typical hip openers is what we call them. So sitting in a V, legs out to the side, hands behind, and we're dropping the knees into that 90-degree position. And we're just going to go side to side. So we're getting best of both worlds. Keep that chest pointing forward. So don't rotate with it. And then you're just rotating side to side with those knees. And the more challenging you want to make this is walk your hands into your bum so you're sitting a little bit more upright. And from there, if you're still having that chest forward and getting both knees down, excellent. Throw your hands out in front. See how that goes. Now it's going to be a lot easier for that chest to go to each side, but make sure that doesn't happen. So we're just getting our hip internal and external rotation coming in here. So another 3 seconds. We're going to stay in this position on one side. So 2, 1. All right, take a rest. So you're going to set up that 90-degree on one side. What we're going to do here is bring that front leg, bring that foot up against that quad. From there, we're pushing down. We're leaning forward, our chest over the knees, push down through our knees, up, squeeze our bum, and slowly bring it back down. But I want to see that chest constantly over that front leg. Don't sit back on it, and don't come back here. It's not a swinging momentum. So lean forward, push down through the two knees, and back down. As you're trying to push the ground underneath you with the two knees. So first one, to wrap your head around it, is a little bit difficult, but once you get the first time, it becomes a lot easier. So now we're looking at that hip external and internal rotation. And we're trying to strengthen up those areas. So 3, 2, 1, let's swap it over, because what we do to one side, we gotta do to the other. So setting up, you're gonna drag that front leg in, so we kind of lose that 90-degree at that front leg. Chest over that front leg between the knee and ankle. Push down to the two knees. Up, squeeze your bum. And back down nice and slow. Don't lose control and don't just flop back down. Make sure you are coming down nice and slow. Because it's like an exercise that you do with a kettlebell. The more control you have on that eccentric part, the better. And now we're looking at the hip internal and external rotation. So there are 10 seconds to go. And then we're back on to our bum, legs and that. Very similar to that starting position with the V shape. So 2, 1. So we're back to the start, legs in that V shape here, but there's going to be a bit of a change. So instead of dropping both knees, we're going to keep that outside one still, and we're going to drop that inside knee and pick it back up. Then we're going to alternate. So don't have the two legs moving at once, just that one leg is going to stay still. Now it's going to want to move. If you have restricted mobility with internal rotation, well, this other leg's going to start moving with it to make it a little bit easier. So if you don't make it to the ground with that knee, walk your hands back a little bit so you're leaning back. Or if it's too easy, come forward. Bring your heels to your bum, hands to your bum. Make it a little bit more challenging. Give your hips less room to work with. And then we're on our two knees for our next pigeon stretch. So 3, 2, 1. So onto our two knees. And what we're going to do with this on two knees, I'm going to get you to put that right foot directly in front of that left knee. And now hands out in front. We're going to drop that knee out to the side. And we're going to set up that position. So don't let that foot fall all the way back in. We're dropping the hips down, and now you should feel that on your glutes. And we're just going to hold that for about 40 seconds. So the trick is just to relax, and we want that high foot placement. So don't worry if you don't have that mobility. What you can do is throw a block or a pillow underneath that knee to get it right down to the ground. So instead of bringing that knee down to the ground, you're actually bringing that ground up to you. because we want to be able to put our knee down on a surface. Doesn't matter what surface it is. So if you are struggling, drop it down on something. So 2, 1. If you happen to have a yoga block, if you're into yoga, that yoga block is actually spot on. Or it could be a roll of tissue. So now we're going to swap it over, left foot in front of the right knee, 2 hands out to the side. We're going to drop that left knee out towards the hands. And from there we actually have that perfect straight across for the pigeon. So we want to get that hip external rotation. That just builds the tension on it, and then we're just dropping our hips down. But keep that chest up. So you're nearly trying to scoop your hips up in front. There are 10 seconds to hold. Be careful that foot doesn't swing back in towards the middle. Keep it up nice and high. And we're back onto our hands and knees. And 3, 2, 1. Come up out of that. Onto our hands and knees. We're going into something called cat camel. So now we're looking at the spine. So hands and knees, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Big breath in. We're going to round that back as much as possible. And then we're going to look at exhaling and breathing out while arching at the same time. So you're trying to get to both end ranges of motion in our flexion and extension through our spine. And the more control we have with our spine, the better control we'll have with our body. So when it does come to exercise, not just exercise, but everyday life, things will become a lot easier. And then we're going to lie onto our stomach, target our shoulders in 6 seconds time with prone swimmers. So we all know our rotations. It's very similar. So 2, 1, let's drop down to our stomach. 2 hands out in that wide position. I'm going to take 1 hand at a time, lift that right hand up, palm out, thumb down, behind the back and over the top, bring it back down. So you're trying to get as high as you can as you bring it down by the side of your body. So head down, lift it up, all the way down behind us. Put it behind your back as if you're under arrest in handcuffs. And then over the top again. And think it's all about that rotation in that shoulder joint. So you're starting an internal rotation with the shoulder. So thumb down by your side as it comes down towards your feet. Then you're going to bend the arm in behind the back. Pull the elbow back in. Extend. Externally rotate. There are 5 seconds. So the key with this one is don't let that chest lift off the floor. So 2 and 1. Right, take 10 seconds. Don't let your chest lift off the floor no matter what side. So we should actually see if we cut our arms off. 2, 1, go to the left side. So if you cut our arms off from view, where we can't see what our arms are doing, you shouldn't even be able to tell if I'm moving that arm or not. So try and get that left side now staying on the floor. Because you rotate it with your trunk, well, we're not getting the full effect of this exercise because we're starting to bring the rest of the body in. So we're actually staying in that same position. We think we're getting more rotation, but we're rotating to the body and therefore not actually getting in the shoulder. So 10 seconds, then we're back to the start. We've got 1 more run through. As always, that's our setup. We've got 40 seconds on, 10 seconds off. So 2, 1. And you'll notice, same with the hips and same with the shoulders. One side is always going to be better than the other. Same with the T-spine or upper back. So let's go side to side. So just remember what level you're on. Don't fool yourself. Be honest with yourself. So if you're not at that level yet, don't go for it yet. We do have another couple of weeks of this. So take your time. You'll actually progress a lot faster if you take your time. So same with this one. Should take about 4 to 5 seconds on the lift up and the bring down. So one transition should be about 5 seconds. That's how slow you should be going. Because we can't control anything when we're going fast. So 3, 2, 1. Right, now sitting on our bum, go to one side. You're going to pull that front foot in. Now we've kind of cut that angle in half, so it's 45 degrees. Still 90 degrees the back leg. Lean forward, push down through the 2 knees, and back down. So, because we open up our joints and we try and improve that range of motion, we got to feel that range of motion with strength. So there's no point having that range of motion if we've no strength. So when we do get into those positions and we have no strength, well, that's where injuries come in. So we got to do strengthening exercises with them too. So you got to fill that joint with something. And we're going to fill it with strength. And this is what this exercise is. So we're bringing strength in now to the hips because it's got that range of motion. So 5 more seconds. So 3, 2, 1. You gotta swap it over. So going again, 4, 3, 2, 1. So chest over that front leg. You can always put a hand out to the side or a little lift off if you need it. If not, great. But we want to start looking at the strengthening aspect of things, especially in internal rotation. We're always weaker, or 9 times out of 10 we're weaker in internal rotation. And a brilliant way to test it is if you actually cross your fingers, put it into a fist, you're going to squeeze that. And now if you try and actually rotate your fingers in towards you, well, you're going to start losing that grip. Now, if we do that again and rotate away from our body, well, it actually gets tighter. All right, so 3, 2, 1. We're back to our bum, legs in a V. We're going to drop one knee in, just the one knee. Doesn't mean you get to move this one. You don't have a license to move this knee. So hands behind, drop the one knee in, back down. And that's why the internal rotation part is so important. And that's the one that people lack all the time, is internal rotation. Not just the strength, but the actual range of motion itself. So if you want to run that test, I'll show it at the end, just to kind of give you an idea. And you go, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Because there's a method to all this madness. So another 12 seconds to go. Then we're onto our hands and knees. We're jumping the gun a bit. Onto our 2 knees. Pigeon stretches next. So 3, 2, 1. Right, so onto our 2 knees. I'm going to put my right foot in front of my left knee. So I'm going to put it slightly to the side. Side view for the camera. Drop the hands out to the right. And then drop that right knee out. You will have to adjust that back foot ever so slightly. Just going to pull back a little bit. But we just want to make sure that our knee is down, but we also have that foot come straight across. Now it is going to be quite intense, so that's why you can throw something underneath there. Even a pillow. Fold the pillow in half. This should be a big stretch in the glute. And we're just going to hold that. So if we do lift that up, and we don't bring the knee down, and we're still feeling a stretch there, now we're starting to hit the piriformis. A little bit different. So 3, 2, 1. So the slightest change in exercise will change the whole point of attack. So left foot in front of the right knee. Drop the hands out to the left. So you're anticipating where you're going to go. So you're not always going to stay in that straight line. You are going to come a bit to the outside. So anticipate it with your hands. And what you can do is you can have your left hand down, but you also put your right hand on that left foot. Just kind of keep it there, because when we do get tired, it becomes a little bit harder to keep that foot nice and high. Because if you let that foot fall in now, well, now I've lost a stretch. So you got to keep it nice and high. Even use your hands just to push it into towards the ground. You got 10 seconds to go. So nice and slow breathing into the nose and out to the mouth. So 2, 1. Let that foot fall. We're going hands and knees. We're going into our cat camels, and you can nearly imagine which is the cat part and which is the camel part. So as we breathe in, so let's go, big breath in. You're going to round that back as much as possible. And from there, we're going to start exhaling and arching that back all the other way. Then you're going to do it again. So nice and slow. It's really slow breathing. I can't stress how important it is to go slow. Another 12 seconds. And then we're going to finish off with the prone swimmers. So the prone part is stomach on the ground. So that's pronation. So 2 and 1. Right, onto our stomach. Hands on a Y. Remember, you're going to internal rotation first. That's your thumb down to the floor. In 2, 1. Let's lift it up nice and high. Bend the arm in behind the back. Lift the elbow up. Extend and rotate it down. Now, make sure you reset on the ground each time, so that we have a stable platform to lift it and go again. But you'll notice, as soon as you stop rotating with your trunk and keeping the chest down on both sides, you're actually going to feel that rotation of the joints, of the humerus, the upper bone in the arm, rotating in that joint. So another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now that stage, the shoulder is getting quite tired because it is actually quite a tough exercise. So 3, 2, 1. So left hand, lift it up, thumb down to the floor, but keep it nice and high. And rotate in behind. Extend that arm, bring it up over the top. And let's go again. So you've already experienced some pain. It's most commonly in the shoulders when we do rotations. Just bypass that area. So if it is quite sore, come low to the ground. Even drag it on the ground. It doesn't have to be the highest in the world. We just don't want you guys training in a state of pain. Don't aggravate anything. So 3, 2, and 1. Finish the rep. And relax. So, there you have it, guys. That's your Monday mobility done and dusted. It's a perfect way to start the week. And just touching on that quick internal and external rotation and showing the difference between the strength is if you cross your fingers, you're going to put it into a fist and you're going to rotate those fingers towards you. That's internal rotation. Now we've lost that grip and actually our 2 fingers are side by side. So there's no strength in internal rotation, but if we do that and roll away from our body, that's external rotation, it just gets tighter. Same thing happens with your joints. So there you have it. Best of luck. So best of luck for the workout tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one and we'll see you next time.